And we are now live. All right. Gonna give it like 15-20 minutes for people to file in. Oh yeah, I probably should too this time to make sure everything is good volume-wise. I the music I think should be coming through very quietly. And this is me at talking volume. That good? Anybody need some adjustments? Okay, yeah. Hold on, I can do that. Okay, that's both turned up a little bit. Is that better? Nice, nice. Oh, hello. Just waiting another 10 minutes or so for people to file in and get situated. Probably could use this time to prepare myself, but to be honest, I spent like 2 hours already doing that. Oh, don't mind him. We'll get to that later. Hello. Just waiting another couple minutes for everyone to come in. Alright. Probably get started in about 5 minutes. Yeah, I think we were supposed to get a, let's see, Reyna and Cat, maybe. I don't like to at people, so. Yeah, not quite. In theory, I could have set this up as like a big old party chat, but I don't know how to do that. Had to get a lot of help from my sister, who knows a lot more about the fundamentals than I do. Alright, well, looking to get started in about 1 minute or so. The beginning's gonna be a little slow, because we're gonna start right off with a gluing step, so that's gonna have to wait. Ooh, I actually did forget something. I need to go get my gloves. I will return momentarily. No. Morphemus is my sister. Okay. Guess we could wait a little longer, but let me get my mouse out of the way so I don't get glue on it. Okay, so first step is you gotta come up with a concept. That's kind of step 0. For today's stream, I'm gonna be ambitious. I'm gonna try to make 2 puppets. First one is gonna be Ratatoskr, and the second one is just gonna be a stick hand puppet with no particular purpose, unless I find one later. and that's going to be a bee. I have this lovely little bee fur that I think is going to work great for that. So first step is we're going to work on the torso, the body, you know, where your arm goes, because that's sort of the core foundation that everything else builds off of. So you're going to need your thin foam for that. I've already pre-cut a little piece here because I don't want to drag around the whole giant bit to the camera. But basically, for the bee, I kind of want it to be like a tube that's sort of rounded in the middle. So when these two ends meet up, it'll give it a little bulge in the middle there. And it is large enough to fit my arm comfortably. This is open cell foam. You could use closed cell foam in theory, but it will get very sweaty very quickly. All the foam today is going to be open cell foam. This is like upholstery foam mattress toppers. That's where I get it. You can get like a twin size mattress topper that's 5 inches thick for like, I think last time I bought one it was $40, but you know, the economy. But you know, that, you know, big chunks this thick, it's great. I buy one like every 4 years and I make a lot of weapons out of it. Foam weapons. Twitch, don't ban me. Then gonna grab a pair of gloves. And you're gonna need your rubber cement. I like Barge. This is the rubber cement that I use for basically everything. You don't have to get the giant can. For me, it's worth the investment. But the way this stuff works best is if you put it on and then let it sit for about 10 minutes and then adhere the two sides. So I'm going to give this a little trim. You can use a knife for this, but I've got a sharp pair of scissors, and for the small foam, that's what I find to be easiest. It doesn't have to be perfect, the cloth is going to hide a lot of sins. And, before you start gluing, this would be a good time to put down, like, newsprint or a drop cloth or something. This is my work table. As you can see, I don't care if I get glue on it. But you will spill some glue, no matter how careful you are being. And with the open cell foam like this, it's probably going to need 2 applications. The first one is just going to sort of soak into the foam and give it a good barrier to start with, and then the second one will actually be the one that adheres it shut. So once we get this seam going, we're going to have another 10 minutes to just kind of sit around and talk and maybe wait for stragglers. And it doesn't matter if you go over the seams at all. Again, the cloth is going to hide a lot of sins. None of this will be seen. We're not, you know, painting the foam directly. Hello. Yes, the eyes are for a step later. We're currently working on the body. Quick reiteration. For the body that I want, I kind of want it to bulge in the middle a little bit, but otherwise be a tube. It's big enough to fit my arm in comfortably. And we're applying rubber cement to the edges to get that going, and I will set that aside to cure for 10 minutes. and then we will likely need to do another coat, and then after that we can actually seal it up. And that'll be the start to our body. And I'm going to go through a lot of gloves, because I buy them in bulk. If you want to reuse your gloves, that is your own prerogative, but that is how I have ended up glued into a glove before, so I don't recommend it. Okay, and now, secondarily, because I am making 2 puppets, for the more advanced puppet, the live hand puppet, like Bud is, that's going to be 2 pieces rather than 1 wrapped around. They're kind of shaped like this. Don't know if the glare is too bad there. Hold on. It's a little better. Mine is already sewn into the torso piece, so but you want, you know, sort of like the body of a t-shirt shape on the front, and you leave a little bit for the neck, and then glue up the seam all the way around, and then on the back you want a nice big opening for your hand to fit in. And that's 2 pieces glued along the edge. But I pre-prepared that because, well, I don't think I can actually get through making 2 whole puppets completely from scratch in a reasonable amount of time. But we are going to make a total of 1 net puppet from scratch. And then, skipping ahead a bit, vaguely human-shaped in the way that a Muppet is. Yes, they're anthropomorphic, not necessarily human. But it works just as well for a human puppet. And then that torso just kind of gets a t-shirt. Except you don't need to reeve armholes, because you can just sew that directly on. And mine is 2-tone, because that's just the way I'm making it. I want it to have sort of a cream underbelly and a gray coat. So that is what I am going with. And I have just realized that this seam is not fully finished. So while we're sitting here waiting for our glue to dry on our first torso, I'm going to get that sewn shut. But yeah, the live hand puppet is going to be, basically Ratatoskr is Bud's assigned Vanir. It's going to be very Bud-shaped, despite the fact that they are different types of animal. And that is mostly because I have a plan for what I want to do with it after the alt event. So I do a lot of hand stitching. That is not, strictly speaking, necessary, but some of these shapes are going to be a pain to get into a machine, and some of these spots, if you're not going to hand stitch it on, you're going to have to glue it on, which this barge cement is great. It will hold anything, anywhere. I use it for boffers, I use it for puppets, but I prefer the stability of knowing it is sewn in. And also the ability to undo it. It's like, if Bud gets a terrible stain somewhere, I know how he's put together. I can take out individual panels, fix them up, clean them, or just straight up replace them, and then put them back in. I've already had to do that once with his hair already. His hair just gets real messed up real fast. Although part of that is my fault. I tried to comb it dry when it was really tangled, and well, it's not designed for that. So he kind of lost a lot on his first mohawk there. Alright. Hello? Yeah, most puppets are not made for a LARP. Bud is a LARP puppet first and foremost. And, you know, a practical puppeteering puppet secondarily. There's a little trick with Bud, and we'll get to that when we get to the making the head. But he's got this little loop on the back of his head that's made out of the same material as fur, so you can't see it, and that's how he like hooks onto the backpack so that I can dual wield with him. He is built entirely for LARP purposes. Even his arms are like fully replaceable with just a few pulled stitches. Haven't had to do that yet, but it's all set up to be interchangeable parts. If I was smart, I would have taken a pattern from all the pieces the first time I made it. I didn't do that. But, you know, the fur hides so many mistakes. It's great. You really don't have to worry about it. You can be pretty egregious and it will still look right. Let's see. We've got about 3 minutes left on our first glue up. Does anybody have any questions at this time? I don't know if anybody's actually following along live. I know many are planning. Yeah, the next set of butt arms might be a little bigger. They might be a little longer actually, because I have torn his shoulder stitching just reaching to the maximum a couple times before. But that's an easy fix. But I will fix that when it breaks, not preemptively. The smartest thing I did with Bud is the company that makes the fabric that is his fur was going out of business, and I bought an entire untouched bolt. So I have plenty to make new Bud stuff basically forever. Hope you're all enjoying the royalty-free, attribution-free soundtrack. Got 6 hours queued up. How long does it take to make a puppet compared to a set of offers? I mean, it's kind of a different process. I think if I wasn't, like, teaching right now, I could probably make a whole puppet start to finish today in one, like, 16-hour shift at the detriment of being able to do anything for the rest of the week. I would say like 16 hours is probably the maximum, and that was, you know, Bud took 3 weeks, but that wasn't, you know, 3 weeks straight. It was just off and on, and that was an exploratory process. You know, making the prototype is always going to take longer. Boffers, they only really take me like maybe 6-7 hours, but you can do a lot of those steps in parallel, so like it's still 7 hours, even if I'm doing like 10 of them. And then like there are certain steps where it needs to cure or dry or whatever, and you just can't rush that, so sometimes you just have to wait till tomorrow. And then Bud's boffers were quite difficult to pull off, getting the fur to play nice and sit correctly, but it was worth it. I mean, making anything in bulk is a little easier, because, you know, every step. You know, you're not setting up and tearing down. I do all of my work right here at this table, basically. I have a place I can spray paint, but you know, everything else right here at this table. So if I need to oh, there's a timer. If I need to tear down and set up the next process, it's way better for me to just knock it out 20 times than it is to come back and reset it. So okay, so it's been 10 minutes. And by the fact that I can touch that and I'm not getting any glue on my hands, this is going to need a second coat. That was expected. Most of the foam is going to need this. That glove is already torn. How dare they? Yeah, I mean, bud buffers are real nice. The one thing I was like mildly concerned about is I did have to basically sew the fabric through the duct tape into the foam to get them to stay. That so far that hasn't been a durability issue. The one thing is like I'm used to sealing my boffers in Plastidip, and those boffers don't have any Plastidip on them. They're just duct tape and then cloth instead of duct tape and then Plastidip. So like they are not